As the rains now recede, the active weather zone moves southwards. So much of rainfall, thunderstorms, gradually being accompanied by very destructive strong winds, are going to take place in the middle of the country and in the southern part of the country. So those are places that will have a very active weather in this September and October.
Now, Mr. Alozie, you say that you gave warning and you mentioned 13 states. Did they heed your warning? Because we have heard in the last month or so, a number of states have screamed at the effects of the rain on their people.
Yeah, well, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, where we work, try to do as per our mandate, which is to observe the weather, analyze the weather data, issue alerts, and issue advisories as the need arises. We have even gone beyond this, because now we go to the press and try to talk to Nigerians on what they should do and what they should not do. However, we know that there are other agencies like the National Emergency Management Agency, which we are also working with to carry on from where NIMET stops. So I think that those agencies are doing their best in the circumstance. Again, the people of this, our people need to really listen to what we are saying. In one of our previous advocacy programs like this one, where somebody came from Nasarawa State, a victim of flood, representing so many others, this year, we were in one of the media houses. He acknowledged that they heard about the forecast and the alerts issued by NIMET. But they thought that, well, they have lived there for 50 years, that such a thing have never happened. So one of the challenges of the changes that have taken place in our weather in recent times, often referred to as climate change, is the unwillingness of the people to listen to these changes that have taken place, you know, with proving their consequences. I mean, a case in point remains the 2012 flood disaster in this country. Yet, it's difficult to get them to agree.
Okay. Okay. Let me come back to the studio here. Dr. Adejare, the Nigerian Hydrological Services has included Lagos among the states that will witness flooding anytime from now. What steps have been taken to make sure that we do not have the kind of flooding that we had in 2012, which in my memory is the worst that we've had recently?
Thank you very much. First of all, we started with advocacy. What NIMET told us and other agencies, we've tried to pass it down to our people to make them understand that, look, some of you, where you live, you might have to vacate the place. You might have to move. If you are living at, you know, in the floodplains, you just have to move. Because the water will come there. And we are occupying where it's supposed to be a reservoir for the storm water in the first place. So we advise them to move. When the rain stops, you can come back there, because that's your house.
If your house is still standing.
If it's still standing. If it's still standing. But you see, we, on our own part as a government, we've also, in this state, there is no 1 month we are not doing one thing or the other about channels. We know we're a coastal state. We know we are just 1 or half a meter above sea level. You understand? So we know that these problems, if we don't get proactive about, you know, solving these issues, we will find ourselves in deep trouble. So we're always maintaining them. And
does Lagos State still have drain ducts?
yes, we have. Well, they are still working.
They are working.
We even have an additional gang to them. We have what we call emergency flood abatement gang. They have about 25 of them in each local government and SCD. And they go on throughout the year. There is no time they stop to desilt silted drains and drainages and channels in those local governments. Their own is all year round, work. They don't stop.
You talked
It's not about rainy season alone.
You talked earlier about the attitude of the people.
Yes.
But we'll come back to that. Let's look at this thing about the areas where people go to live in floodplains or in areas that are supposed to be reservoirs for storm waters. Are there markings for the people to see? I mean, one would think that maybe in the major streets, let's say going down to mile 12, for instance, at that bus stop, there'll be a map that says, here is a floodplain, here is a reservoir area, so don't leave there or don't go around that area. Are there such markings?
Some of these people have been there for ages now. How many of our people can read maps? So what we do is to talk to them in our language, in the language they will hear. Even if they are Igbos, we get Igbo people to talk to them in their own language. If they are Hausas, we get Hausa people to talk to them in their language. And majorly Yoruba is here, so we talk to them in the language they understand. That where you have chosen to live, it is not sanctioned by the government that you should live there because you don't have approval for the place. And we are telling you that where you are living is reservoir for water. So when storm come, they will come here. So move, please move. We've been saying it on your TV, on radio stations, our TV stations, all the time. And where I went today, they are still there. And I told them, well, that place, I think I've declared an emergency in the place. We have to face it squarely. We have to, and I'm so impressed by the attitude of the youth there. So I'm going to work with them, encourage them, empower them, and encourage them to take ownership of their area. And that is what this government is saying. Take ownership of your area. We see people dumping. We found out that people came from far to dump there. And some unscrupulous people, we are looking for them. They will be charged to court. But they are collecting money for people to come and dump.
What are places where the people are not dumping refuse, but the places still get flooded?
Yes, because
what about building drains for them there?
We have drains in most of them. But you see, when there is heavy rain, the drain will not even contain the storm water that will come.
But what about stagnant drains, Doctor? What about stagnant drains?
Stagnant drains?
Yes.
Look, let me tell you one thing.
Because they are not covered. Refuse is in the drains.
That is what we're talking about. It's about attitude. Those drains don't have legs.
What about covered drains?
We will cover them. Don't forget that we're not going to use the whole budget of this state to do drains. It's plenty of money. We have about over 200 primary drains here. You know what I'm talking about? Big channels, over 200 of them in Lagos. To cover them and make them into covers, we'll be running to billions, hundreds of billions. How much is our budget? 600 and something billion?
The flood waters that are collected or gathered, are there plans to recycle, or are you using the flood, or you just allow them to drain out?
In the first instance, every water will be recycled. They're not going anywhere. Science has taught us that there will be evaporation into the air. At a certain point in time, what we call rainy season, there will be condensation and the water will come back.
But is Lagos State deliberately recycling any of these waters or planning to recycle?
Recycling. Yes, now River Ogun, we are taking our water from River Ogun. The water we drink, that we purify that comes out in our drains. It's taken from River Ogun. River Ogun is a big channel, to a lot of those channels empty into it. And they eventually, all of them empty into the lagoon.
Okay. Dr. Adejare and Mr. Alozie, we'll take a moment, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the predictions that the probable water flow in 2016 will be higher than in 2012. We'll be back in a moment. Please don't go away.